Hello, hello. Welcome to Reading Time. My name's Time, and this week we're reading The Velveteen Rabbit by Marjorie Williams. Let's get to reading. The Velveteen Rabbit by Marjorie Williams is a children's picture book about a stuffed rabbit who is loved deeply by the child who plays with him. Throughout the book, the rabbit learns what becoming real really means, and overall, it is a very touching story. I am going to give this book 5 stars. It was a very touching book with a good story, and one that I think people should definitely read. Over the course of the book, the stuffed rabbit learns that as he is loved by this little boy who plays with him, that he becomes real to that little boy even if he is just a stuffed animal. And as he becomes real to the little boy, as he becomes more important and more loved and makes that connection, then he has the opportunity to become actually real at the end. This book does kind of touch on the subject of loss, as the boy in the story does get very sick with scarlet fever, and because he had been cuddling with the rabbit throughout his sickness, when he does recover, the doctor orders that all toys that he had been playing with need to be burned. And so there definitely is a little bit of loss with this book. Spoiler, the rabbit is not actually burned in the end. He is turned real by magic, but there is still that sort of fear, and there may need to be a bit of a discussion of the severity of scarlet fever with in regards to this book, as scarlet fever would have been one of the leading causes of death in children in the early 20th century. And so explaining to young readers why the toys would need to be burned would be really important. And even though there is no actual death, there is still that loss of that relationship as the boy loses his close friend, because the stuffed rabbit becomes a real rabbit and the boy doesn't necessarily know that. So generally, content-wise, nothing that I would say is concerning, but there is that topic that might need to be touched on. Overall, I would put this book at a 2nd to 4th grade reading level. I know that usually with picture books, I say that it would be a lower reading level, but for this one, the picture to text ratio is a little smaller than what it would be in other picture books, and the content might be better understood by those middle elementary school age ranges as opposed to early elementary school or preschool levels. Now, as I said earlier, I do think that it would be beneficial to not necessarily go in depth with what scarlet fever was, but to at least go over basics of how serious it was, because nowadays a lot of younger children are not going to be familiar with scarlet fever, and they might not know how especially serious it was at the time. But something else that I think should be touched on with this book is just that main theme that love can bring about great change. Students could also talk about what makes something real and perception versus reality. There's really a lot you could dive into with this book, and potentially with some of those themes you could even bring this into an older age range and pair it with other books that have similar themes or ideas. But overall, it is a very great book, and I would highly recommend reading it. For the poster for this week, we are in the middle with a rabbit to represent the Velveteen Rabbit there. Let me know what you think of this book or any of the other books we've read. It's kind of crazy to me that we're already almost halfway through this reading adventure. If you are not already, feel free to subscribe to the channel and follow me on either Facebook or Instagram for updates about what I'm reading. And as always, I hope that you have a marvelous week and a wonderful read.